Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to this press conference. I really do appreciate you taking the time to come out and listen to the concerns that I have. I'll be sharing a little bit about my platform today, and then I'll be discussing the Sheriff's Office accreditation. And then lastly, I'm going to mention an opportunity for open dialogue with the Augusta County residents. I've been on the campaign trail for some time now, and I've heard your complaints and concerns. And the most common complaints and concerns are bullying in the schools and school security. Along with that, obviously, school safety. The drug and opioid crisis, human trafficking and illegal immigration, and the lack of service provided by the Augusta County Sheriff's Office. These are not made up. These are what I've been told from the citizens of Augusta County. So we're going to address some of these concerns today. These concerns they're also concerning to me as well. But first we must fix the Sheriff's Office. This in turn will help address the complaints and concerns. So let me explain. The first part of my platform is to lead the Sheriff's Office with mature, ethical leadership and improve the department morale and retention of officers. The Sheriff is the moral compass of the entire department, and the men and women that serve under him look to him for guidance, direction, and leadership. I think most would agree if the head of an agency has questionable ethics or questionable decision making, this will undoubtedly trickle down into the lower ranks of the agency. This cannot be tolerated. Our Sheriff's Office must be running with the absolute highest morale and ethical standards and integrity. This is not the case with the current sheriff. Under my administration, any unethical or dishonest behavior will not be tolerated. Turning to morale and retention of officers. This will be a top priority to me once I'm elected. Through a recent FOIA request, it was discovered that the Augusta County Sheriff's Office has a 60% turnover rate in the last 4 years, which is approximately 45% higher than the national average. This is a red flag to me, and we need to look into this more. This turnover rate has cost the taxpayers a lot of money to hire, train, and re-equip new officers. I understand there's many variables associated with turnover. However, one of my priorities will be to identify trends in turnover that are specific to the Augusta County Sheriff's Office. Morale is another important variable. Positive morale is essential and has a major impact on staff's ability to do their job well. From the 60% of those who left the Sheriff's Department after my opponent was elected, many report that low morale was a contributing factor for their departure. We must explore this more and again identify trends in order to learn from previous mistakes and work with staff to identify what is needed in order to improve morale. I am currently part of a state law enforcement agency that has a positive morale and understands how to retain elite law enforcement officers. I intend to bring that experience and knowledge to our Sheriff's Office when I'm elected. The second bullet point of my platform is to promote measures that improve school safety. Bullying and school safety in general are huge concerns for parents and citizens in the current day and age, and maintaining a status quo is simply not enough. We must think of innovative ways by thinking outside the box in order to better address school safety. We owe it to our children, our teachers, our school employees, and our community to be proactive in this area rather than thinking about all we could have done after a tragedy occurs. One example of this, I was surprised to learn from the Stanton Fire Department administration that currently there's no protocol in place for Stanton Fire Department to respond to an active shooter situation in Augusta County. Stanton Fire Department also doesn't train with the Sheriff's Office. So if there was ever a school shooting, there would not be a unified response and that would cost valuable time. This is something we can change, and I will work to establish a protocol and a joint training with other localities for unified response once I'm elected. Another part of my platform deals with combating drugs, human trafficking, and illegal immigration. When I'm elected as sheriff of Augusta County, I'll extend an invitation for the Waynesboro Police Department to rejoin the Regional Drug Task Force team. I've already received confirmation that they are willing to do this under my leadership. Having all jurisdictions involved in combating crime in our community is crucial in law enforcement. So to deliberately exclude a jurisdiction is not acceptable. Under my leadership, we will work together because we're stronger and more effective together, and that makes for safer communities, and this is proven in the facts. In 2018, the Sheriff's Office reported a 63% decline in drug arrests than those in 2016. Again, 2018 reported 63% decrease from 2016. When Waynesboro was part of the Skyline Task Force team, going from 237 felony drug arrests in 2016 to 86 felony drug arrests in 2018. The decline is certainly not because there's less drugs on our streets. In fact, in 2018, the Sheriff's Office reported $53,800 worth of drugs and money seized, while the Waynesboro Police Department Special Operations Division, operating alone without task force support, seized over $2 million worth. We must do better with this, and multi-jurisdiction collaboration and coordination is part of the answer. Moving on to human trafficking. From 2012 to 2016, Virginia saw a 168% increase in child trafficking cases. Many people fail to realize it, but right here in our community, children are being exploited every day. Many other law enforcement agencies routinely conduct online solicitation of minors, stings, and under my leadership, the Sheriff's Office will take an active approach in working to prevent the exploitation of our children. Virginia is 6th in the nation in human trafficking. My opponent refuses to admit we have a problem. In fact, he has been invited to join the Shenandoah Valley Human Trafficking Task Force team that was headed up by Waynesboro's Commonwealth Attorney's Office and New Directions, but he has yet failed to do so. Again, Virginia is 6th in the nation in human trafficking, and Augusta County is the 2nd largest county in the state, and we have 2 major interstates running through this county, and we don't have a problem. And illegal immigration. Recently, Nexus attacked me on my support of President Trump and my position on illegal immigration. I will not waver in my commitment to defend our community from illegal immigration. In the county just north of us, the MS-13 gang is very strong, and it's just a matter of time before it expands into our community. I'm going to have proactive measures in place to fight back and work with federal authorities involving illegal immigration. As I've spoken with citizens across Augusta County, something is frustrating to many people who have been a victim of property crime. This is that they never see a responding deputy or asked to complete a police report over the phone, rather than having a deputy respond. Augusta County citizens deserve to have a deputy respond to their home or business during their time of need. I have an initiative called Deputy on Your Doorstep. When you're a victim of a crime, you deserve a response no matter how large or how small the crime. That's why when I'm elected sheriff, I promise to have a deputy on your doorstep in your time of need. As opposed to the current practice of asking you to file a report over the phone, with this initiative, a deputy will come to you and work with you to understand what happened, to collect any evidence, take pictures, and investigate to determine who is responsible so they can be charged criminally. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about accreditation of the Sheriff's Office. Accreditation of any agency is certainly a difficult task to achieve, and we can all agree on that. It's difficult for a reason, and it's not handed out just to any agency. It's designed for accountability and to hold your agency and your employees to a higher standard. Recently, our Sheriff's Office was denied accreditation. One of the reasons for this was missing evidence from a murder case. Now, the sheriff described the missing evidence as a piece of costume jewelry. A few things about this. First, it doesn't matter what it was. It could come from out of a bubblegum machine. It doesn't matter. It's missing evidence. Evidence is an essential element of prosecuting crimes, and the integrity and custody of evidence should never come into question. When a piece of evidence is missing, or the process by which evidence is preserved falls short, the integrity of all evidence can be called into question, and it sheds a sense of doubt in the minds of the court and community members. This is absolutely inexcusable, and I will correct this issue immediately once I take office. Second, I obtained a Virginia Law Enforcement Professional Standards Commission assessment report from the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services, which outlines their accreditation assessment of the Augusta County Sheriff's Department. I have a copy of this report available for you all today, and this is the full report. What stands out in this report to me is that there is no mention of any costume jewelry that Sheriff Smith spoke about on his October 9, 2019 press release in his explanation to the public for the unanimous denial of his accreditation with a 12-0 vote. What is described in the report through the Sheriff's Office's own records is a diamond ring. There's mention of this ring twice. Once as a diamond ring, and second time as a ring with a clear stone. But neither time and nowhere in the report is the ring referred as a piece of costume jewelry. Sheriff Smith is not being transparent here. He is misleading the public, and he is intentionally downplaying the importance of this serious issue. Also, it is completely inappropriate to have an internal investigation conducted by the Sheriff's Office regarding a missing diamond ring related to a murder investigation, regardless if the investigation is active or inactive. The value of this diamond ring is not noted in the report, so we're unaware if the value is $5, $5,000, or $50,000. By the sheriff referring to the ring as costume jewelry, he certainly wants us to believe it has zero value. However, the truth of the matter is, we don't know this, and neither does he. Because the value of the ring is unknown, this calls into question whether this is a criminal matter or human error. An outside law enforcement agency should be conducting an investigation to avoid any potential bias and to ensure a thorough investigation is complete so that the whereabouts of the ring can be determined. A concern of bias is certainly warranted, as Sheriff Smith himself has exhibited some degree of bias by calling a ring a piece of costume jewelry when his own departmental records identify them as a diamond ring. Next, I've heard a radio commercial involving my opponent, and I've also seen some billboards about my opponent. Let me be clear. I, nor my campaign, had no involvement with, or nor did I authorize these things. And I call for whoever is responsible for this attack on my opponent to stop. Many people, including myself, feel these ads are inappropriate. These political tactics don't represent our community. Let the citizens of Augusta County decide who will be their next sheriff on his own merits. Last, there are many questions the citizens want to ask directly to my opponent and myself. With only 14 days left until this important election, I believe their questions should be answered. In fact, I have questions of my own for Sheriff Smith, and perhaps he may have questions for me. That's why I urge you, Donald Smith, to pick a date and time this week for an open town hall forum where citizens can come and ask any and all questions of both of us. I believe in transparency, and I have nothing to hide. I hope Sheriff Smith accepts my invitation and will allow the opportunity to hear from many concerned citizens. Augusta County cannot afford another 4 years with the current administration. I am not impressed with what my opponent has done. In fact, I'm very concerned, and so should you. It's time for a change, and I will bring that change. I'm doing this to give each and every citizen a choice. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for our community. Give me a chance. Let me show you what I can do, and I won't let you down. Thank you. I will now take questions from the meeting.
Do you have a direct link to the sheriff's campaign to request that debate that you're looking for? Has your campaign reached out to his campaign yet? So this is the first call out. Are you guys going to be doing that after this press conference?
Absolutely. I think it's very important. And quite frankly, the citizens of Augusta County want it.
Neil, have you all, I haven't, but have you all seen a picture of the missing evidence yet?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm just curious. And these ads that you were talking about, I haven't heard these ads, and you said there were some billboards as well. And
I've heard one. I'm sorry.
well, I was gonna ask you what you heard. I just,
I've heard the radio ad, and I've seen the billboards. I've seen 2 different billboards in the area, and it's below the belt.
Okay. Do you know who's putting them out?
I don't.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, and I appreciate you all coming this morning.